Hello, welcome back again to Off the Shelf, Book Talk with Book Lovers. I am Elizabeth Nelson here with Kay Johnson, ready to talk about some more books. So Kay, what have you been reading?
Well, the last time we met, I was beginning to read Preston and Child's new Bloodless book. It had come out on Tuesday, the day before. And in a miracle of miracles, I didn't read it straight through the night. But if you haven't read if you're a Preston and Child fan, this book is truly over the top. I mean, this includes time travel, historic beasts, blood sucking. I have to say that I thought it was a real reach, this one. I mean, they're all sort of twisted, but this one is way over the top.
Couldn't quite get there.
And I thought, either they're really bored or they needed some like totally new twist. So supposedly this is a 3-book arc.
Okay.
So there'll be 2 more to suffer through.
Well, you're not giving it a rave review here.
I kept thinking that it couldn't be what I thought it was, and then it was. It was like, no, So anyway, on that note...
Were you able to tell when you were reading it that it was going to be an arc? Like, that it wasn't just going to be a one and move on?
No, I actually read it. I went, because once I finished reading this crazy book, I wanted to know what other people thought. And so, and then it was part of a 3-arc series, and I thought, okay. I don't know where we can go from here, but we'll see.
That's tough. I had a series I started. I talked about it a few times ago. I think it's by Sarah Rosh. I don't remember the title of the book, but the book ended and I knew there were 2 more in the series, and I was like, I don't know where we can go from here, because this is a nice little bow wrapped up on this story, and it ends pretty happy right now, so I can just stop here and pretend the other 2 books don't exist.
Well,
or do I want to read them?
I am not into parallel universes.
You're not. So you're not a Marvel fan, is what you're saying.
Not really. And nor did I understand that Preston and Child were either. But apparently, they must be jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, multiverses are popular right now.
Yeah, that's true.
At least according to Hollywood.
Yeah, I guess. So what are you reading, Betsy?
Well, I finished, for a book club read, we read, that I did with my sister, we read The Last Flight by Julie Clark. So this book, it follows 2 different characters. The main character is Claire, and then the other point of view you read from is a lady named Ava. And Claire is married to her husband is part of like a Kennedy-esque family, very well known, and he wants to run for Senate, but he's not a nice guy, and his family tends to cover up things like the death of his previous girlfriend. So you can see what I mean when I say this is very much like the Kennedy type thing. So Claire wants out, and so she's been working very hard to she's going to go to Detroit for this visit, and then when she gets there, she's just going to disappear. And she has it all planned out, and she's going to escape. And she wakes up the morning of her trip and finds out that he has changed the trip, and he's sending her to Puerto Rico, and he is going to Detroit where she's going to escape. So she gets to the airport, and she tries to call the hotel where she was going to leave to get a hold of all this stuff, her new identity that she had planned, only to learn that it's already been delivered to her room, so her husband knows everything. So she's at the airport, and she runs into this lady named Ava, who says that she's escaping from her husband recently passed away, and it's implied that she might have had something to do with it, and so she wants to run away. So they decide to switch tickets and take each other's flights. So Claire's going to take Ava's ticket and start a new life. And she takes all of Ava's ID, car keys, cell phone, all of that stuff, and Ava takes all of hers. So Claire gets off the plane in California and discovers that the plane she was supposed to be on has crashed. And so everybody thinks she is dead. And So she starts living Ava's life, only to realize when she gets to Ava's apartment that Ava wasn't quite telling the truth and had her own secrets she was running from. So I really enjoyed it. I'm a little skeptical about the whole switching your plane tickets at the airport and getting on a plane for somebody else in this day and age.
Not this day and age. You can barely get on the plane with a full pocket of IDs.
Yes, and there were a couple other things that I think were kind of reaching, like Claire was spying on her husband's Google Docs. He had this conversation he was having with his assistant through this Google document, and it seemed like she could be in there looking at it and they wouldn't realize she was doing that. And I was like, wouldn't every time she turned the computer on, wouldn't it say like she was logging in from this device to him? Like, I don't know, but I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. There was a part of it, how it ended, I didn't like in the epilogue, so I'm choosing to pretend the epilogue didn't exist, because then I can give it a happy ending. The happy ending I want for one of the characters, but it was really well written. The book club I was in with Becca, my sister, they really enjoyed it. So it was a good quick read. It was just one you could kind of sit down and flip right through. So
it had a nice premise, though. That's
Except
I have to say it all the times I've been at the airport. No one has come up to me and wanted to change IDs.
I know. I
just must not be opening enough.
Maybe you don't look desperate enough.
Desperate enough.
But
right.
I know. But I mean, I was just kind of. It makes you, especially with post 9/11, it's one of those things with like, I don't know if you could do that, if you could switch passes, or if you could get onto a plane as somebody else. So,
but you might be able to slip through. I mean, who knows?
And I would think that everything was set in now, but maybe the book is set pre 9/11, so it's easier. But they had to go through security and all of that, so I don't think so. But
no.
But it was, like I said, it was really enjoyable, and I would read more. But this is the first book I've read by Julie Clark. So
I don't think I've ever read anything. So.
Well, now you have a new book to read.
I do.
What else have you been reading?
Well, at this very moment, I am into The Affair of the Mutilated Mink. It's by an author named James Anderson.
Okay.
And I'm a great fan of English manor weekend mysteries.
You are.
I really like those. So I actually Googled it, and a whole list of books came up, and one of which was The Affair of the Mutilated Mink.
Yes.
And it's an old book, apparently from the 30s or 40s, but it has been converted to Kindle.
Okay.
So I downloaded a sample, and I like the sample. It's actually a really interesting premise, because this lord or earl or whatever he happens to be has a big estate, and he's discovered movies, talkies, and he's just wild about them. So he's always going to the movies.
So this is set back.
Yeah, it must be the 30s.
Okay.
I think it is the 30s.
Okay.
And
otherwise, that's a very out of touch British nobility if he's just like present day discovering movies.
Yeah, really. No, the last movie he went to was a silent movie.
Okay.
And he didn't like that flickering business, so he quit going. But he ended up going to one and is wild about it. And he really likes the swashbuckling films. So anyway, and his wife thinks he's ridiculous because she's really sort of a tartar. And then there's a daughter who wants to get engaged but not married. And so she has two suitors. So she's trying to decide between these. So meanwhile, in America, the movie company wants to shoot a swashbuckler with their top guy, Rex Ramson. And they find this house of this guy, this earl, in a book. So they call him up. And now all of a sudden it's the actor and the producer and then Geraldine's two suitors and the author of the movie that was written as a silent film for Douglas Fairbanks shows up with his secretary. So, excuse me, all these people are spending the weekend. And that's as far as I've gotten, because I just don't know who's going to get married, buried, or murdered. Might well be all of them, because
it could.
And the wife's cousin who she hasn't seen for 25 years.
Okay. Well, that's
And
it's
her
very
husband.
convenient of her to show up.
Yes,
of the blue.
and so I'm not quite sure what'll happen, but
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with. And I don't know what the mutilated mink is. If it's a coat or a woof woof, whatever they are.
Do minks woof?
I don't think so. I actually don't know what minks do.
Well, I know. I really hope they woof. But I'm going to have to look that up later. Maybe Alex will know. I feel like that's a question I should ask my 4-year-old.
Yeah,
my
there you go.
5-year-old, what the different animals say.
So I will be able to report on the affair of the mutilated mink next time.
Awesome. Yeah.
But it definitely is entertaining, at least at this point.
Well, good. Well, I currently I'm reading I got to double check what number this is because I think it's 10, the 10th Maggie Hope book, which is called The Hollywood Spy, and this is by Susan Elia McNeil.
Ooh, you have to tell
I
everybody.
know, it's very exciting. So I picked up this book at the local bookstore, and then whenever I read a new book that I'm excited about because I am of my generation, I post a picture of it on Instagram. And sometimes it's fun to tag the authors in that. And so I tagged the author, and she liked it and then decided to follow me on Instagram, which was kind of weird. And she thinks my children are very cute, which she told me, which was very exciting. But it was fun because I got to tell her how much, the character and the characters all meant to me and how great her books are, which is always kind of fun. But so yeah, that was kind of exciting.
Well, she's following you because she wants you to say nice things about her future
Well,
books.
I will say nice things. Well, yeah, me and my little town of Cokato, I have all kinds of important influencers.
You don't know, though, at this very moment, it could be trending.
If nothing else, if she thinks my children are adorable, that's just fine. As long as Alex and Archie are bringing people happiness, that is just fine with me because they bring me happiness.
Well,
But yeah, so this book, Maggie is in Los Angeles. She's crossed the pond, left war-torn Britain, and she is there to help solve the murder of her ex-fiance's fiance, because it's Hollywood and it has to be convoluted. And so this is set, the very first chapter actually starts with the Zoot Suit riots. So that's the timeline you're at. And so right now, I'm only a few chapters in, but it seems to be going between Maggie and her investigation, and then there's also a group of, it appears to be KKK guys that are trying to get somebody elected mayor or governor.
Ooh.
So I think it's going to be interesting. It's a very, it seems right now that Maggie is very kind of shocked by what she's finding out because, America's propaganda machine during this time is putting out that everybody's very pro and everybody's behind and is on the same team and buddy, and she's kind of discovering that it's not everything she's been hearing about from
There's
across.
a fourth column.
There's something going on, but so it's interesting. I mean, I just kind of get sucked right into Maggie's books, and I'm hoping that she's a little happier because in the last book she was defusing bombs and not in the best mindset, running
That's
around.
the one I'm reading
running
now.
running around England. So I'm hoping that she
Things
can have
look
a little,
up.
Things look up and are a little
Well, things
cheery,
will, because
but
California is sunny. You can't be in
Yeah.
a bad mood in California. Even if the KKK is chasing you.
you can be in a bad mood in California, I think.
Well,
I'll have
now
to-
with fires and everything, yes.
Yeah,
But not in the
so
40s.
I'm excited to see how it turns out. So, yeah. What else have you been reading?
Well, last time we met, we were talking about Inspector Gamache.
Yes.
So I went back and read like the first 3 of that
Mm-hmm.
series. And it's just as good as the first time. In fact, it's been long enough that I couldn't remember who did it.
Oh, yeah.
So then they were like kind of
Yeah.
new. But I do think Louise Penny is a good writer, and I like their books.
Well, and we're both dying over here today.
Yes, I think so.
Her newest one for him just came out. There's a new one of hers
Yes.
that just came out that I haven't gotten to
Something
yet.
of the crowd, or
Don't ask me. We can look it up on Goodreads here. Goodreads tells us everything.
Yeah,
That's why I love Goodreads. It tracks everything for me, so I don't have to, because I would never remember what I've read or if I liked it if it didn't do it for me.
yeah, no, I totally agree. According to this, I've read for 163 weeks in a row and 284 days in a row.
Look at you.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I know. It's fun to see, like, in different groups that you're in, what people's reading styles are. Because some people, are just, they want to read and they're trying to, and they're like, I have my goal set for 10 books for the year, or 12 books for the year, because they want to read 1 book a month, and that's all they can do. Then you have other people that are like, it's my goal to read 400 books this year, and I'm like, how? Teach me your ways. I wish I could read that many.
That new Louise Penny is The Madness of Crowds.
The Madness of Crowds. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I can tell you what it's about because I'm in Goodreads.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
And it says, it starts out innocently enough. Now, doesn't that set the stage? While the residents of the Quebec village of Three Pines takes advantage of the deep snow to ski and toboggan and enjoy hot chocolate at the bistro and share meals together, the chief inspector finds his holiday with his family interrupted by a simple request. He is asked to provide security for what promises to be a non-event.
So it's going to be an event.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, and says when a murder is committed, it falls to Armand Gamache, the second in command, Jean-Guy Bouvard.
Don't ask.
I don't know, I don't speak French. And their team to investigate the crime as well the extraordinary popular delusion and the madness of crowds. So it sounds good.
Mm-hmm. It does.
But when you ask what else I was reading, you know what? Did you know Hillary Rodham Clinton has written a book with Louise Penny?
No.
It's called State of Terror.
Well, I suppose if Bill is writing with James Patterson, then Hillary could write with Louise Penny.
I guess.
But then again, everybody's writing with James Patterson right now.
That's true. I wish we were.
Yeah. Maybe someday.
This one with Hillary and Louise Penny is an international thriller full of insider expertise, unlikely heroes, and incomparable thrills. Sounds to me like it's all BS. What do you think?
Okay. What was the title of that one again?
State of Terror.
State of Terror. Okay. Interesting.
Well, I'm going to see what it says. Okay, so surprise, surprise. President of the United States and his new Secretary of State.
Okay. So she's writing about what she knows, it sounds like.
I would guess totally.
Yeah, well.
And, yeah.
You'll have to read it and let us know what you think. How about that?
Yeah, terrorist attacks. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I bet it's... Do you suppose it's about Benghazi?
I don't know. Let's not get political. Let's stick to the realm of books we like.
That's true. Wow, I just never knew. I wonder if that's out. Or if it's... We have to quit.
We'll have to look it up later.
Yeah, I can't deal with it.
We'll let you know on a future episode. How about that?
Yeah.
Another book I read, I decided because I never read it in high school, and that wasn't an indicator that I wouldn't like it to begin with. I read The Giver by Lois Lowry.
I don't know that I've ever heard of it.
You have never read it? Really? I've
never even heard of it.
That's a little sad because it won, hang on here.
The Booker Prize or the...
No, it won the Newbery Medal.
What's the children's book?
It's like a middle grade.
Okay.
A lot of kids did read it in like middle school, I think, in class, but because it was not, the big, huge, chunky books you have to read if you have those high Lexile numbers where everybody else can read like 15 books in a week and you have to read like 2 to take the tests in school. So The Giver it's the 1994 Newbery Medal winner, and it's become one of the most influential books of our time.
No doubt it came out after I was graduated from school.
Well, it's a 1994 Newbery. You weren't in school in 1994, were you?
I graduated in 1974.
Exactly. So yes, it did come after you.
There's a reason I didn't read it.
So it's it follows Jonas, who lives in a ideal world where they Everybody has a job in this town that they're given, and it's family units are like assembled. So, they pick out who your perfect spouse will be, and then they give you your 2 children. And everybody gets a job when they get to the age of 12 that they're going to do. And he is given the job of the giver.
Okay.
So he is going to be the person who has all of the memories of everything that has come before. Everything was ideal.
Wow.
And of course, finds out that things are not as perfect in this perfect world that he thought they were. And how it changes how he perceives the world. So it is one of those coming of age kind of dystopian books. I can understand why I didn't read it in middle school, and I probably would have been okay not reading it. So there are actually 3 more books in this series that don't involve Jonas, but they involve the same world, and yeah, I think I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm glad I read it because I can now be like, yes, I did read that book. Whenever people talk about different books that they had to read, I didn't have to read it, but I read it, or I listened to it. But yeah, not a fan.
Are you a fan of Inspector Barnaby and the Midsummer
Murders?
Yeah.
I am, which is the TV show from the BBC. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the author of those books is someone named Carolyn Green.
Okay.
Or Graham. Sorry.
Okay.
Not Green. Graham. Not grass. Crackers.
Grass crackers. Hey, however it helps you remember it, right?
And I was looking for something to read, and it popped up. So I downloaded a couple of them. I actually did the first 4 because they were all free.
Okay.
I'm big on that.
Free books are great.
Written in Blood. Let's see. Written in Blood was one, and Death in Disguise. Okay. And they're actually really good. And Barnaby's in them with his assistant, starts with a T.
He goes through like 5 in the TV series.
Yeah. And he's always insulting him. I mean, he's just...
Well, one of them for sure deserved it, because he was a bit of a... Well, I'm not going to say that word on TV. He was not a nice person. I remember being very happy when he left.
Well, they're interesting books because they're good, but she goes into such there's like so many storylines going on.
Okay.
With each of the characters that it's sort of like, oh, for God's sake. And a couple people in reviews said,
okay,
there's a lot going on in these books, and you don't need to know quite that much. But I read the first 4. They were good.
Okay.
I like Barnaby, but that's probably it.
Okay. So in this case, you like the TV show better than the books?
I've only seen the TV show like a couple of times, actually. Because, I don't have TV, so it's always sort of difficult.
Okay.
And, but I thought the TV shows were good. Your mom and Nana love them. So
yes, that's how Mom used to survive when she would have to sit and hold Alex while he slept.
Oh, okay.
When he was a little baby, she would sit and watch Midsummer Murders with him.
What are they watching now?
We are watching Murdoch Mysteries, which is actually based on a book series too.
Okay.
Which I'm trying to decide if I want to read those because I like the TV show so much.
That's a problem
Yeah, I had that with Mrs. Fisher's Mysteries is based on a book series by, I think it's Paula Greenwood, about Phryne Fisher.
Okay.
And those are all set in Australia, but those ones, I tried to read the first book, and that was one where it differed too much that I couldn't really wrap my head around what was happening in the book because I got so used to everybody in the show.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make it fit, so... But we have reached the end of our time for this week. So we will see you next time. Reach out to us on Facebook or our email, offtheshelfbooktalk@gmail.com, and we will see you next time. Bye.